Hello and welcome everyone to Think Tree Hub's Weekly Wellbeing Slot. I'm Rosemary Farrow, and over the next few weeks we'll be having a different trainer every Monday to teach you all kinds of simple, practical wellbeing skills for yourself, or that you can share with the rest of the family too. Now, we know that dry hands is something you've all been talking about. So we've got Lisa Alsford here today, and she's going to show you how to do a salon hand treatment at home. Just a quick note, if you look part of your screen, top, bottom, depending on what you're watching on, you'll find a Q&A box. So Lisa's really happy to take all your questions about nail care. So all of you that can't get to your salons and going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What's going on with my nails? Pop it in the Q&A box. If you can't find it, put it in the chat box, and we'll put it to Lisa during the presentation. So we're going to put all of these up on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Think Tree Hub. So you can easily go and refresh your memory all during the week, or check what you need at any time. For anyone who's watching the replay, I'm just going to show you a slide with what you need. And bear with me because, yeah, I could have guessed that would not work. So here we go. That side. So your ingredients are here. So you can just freeze the screen if you're watching on a replay and come back to it. And again, a little bit of precautions. So be aware of any allergies, skin conditions. As Lisa says, use E45 cream, aqueous cream, or fragrance-free products if you are prone to allergies or irritations. And please avoid any patches of the skin that are inflamed, cracked, or sore when using the scrubs, and also areas of bruising, cuts, and grazes. And I'm sure that Lisa will go over that again. So just a little bit about Lisa. Lisa runs the training company Higher MK Academy of Nails and Beauty. She's got an absolute distinct passion for all nail technology and education in what is a really fast evolving area of the beauty industry, and her aim is to help raise the standard of education in nail technology. She initially trained in holistic therapies actually, but in 2006 she very sadly lost her husband and became a widow, and that really made her look at her life again from scratch, and she completely reset it and started a business which became Higher Holistics, and has now led to her becoming a training and sharing her passion for nails with everyone else. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and it's over to you, Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Rosemary. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So looking forward to it.
Good morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. And that you can see my hands properly. So I'm going to talk you through basically how to do a salon style treatment at home, because I know so many people, my clients included, that are suffering with dry skin because of the large amount of hand washing, hand sanitizers that are being used. And it does get to a certain point where just applying a cream isn't going to have any impact on that dry skin. We actually need to work through a few steps to get rid of it, to minimize it, and then to re-nourish the skin. So as well as helping to diminish the dry skin, it also gives a rejuvenating effect to the skin on the back of the hands, the regular moisturizing, and will improve the condition of your cuticles and your well-being as well, because the massage side of it will help to release any tension. And it's amazing how much tension you can hold in your hands and your lower arms. So like I said, I'm going to talk this through. I'm going to do the treatment on myself, and hopefully you'll follow it as we go along. Any questions, just pop them to Rosemary and I will work on them as we work through. So I'll get started and hopefully get to know some of your questions as we move through. So the first thing that we need to do is prepare the scrub. Now I have a little bit of just granulated sugar. You can use salt grains as well, whichever you happen to have to hand, but either are used in spa treatments. So anything from sugar, salt, sand, anything that's kind of naturally rough. But we need to mix in a little bit of oil so that they form a paste. So we just need to add a little bit of the oil to the sugar, and just give it a little stir. And the oil helps to lubricate as we're exfoliating, so it gives a little bit of moisture back to the skin, as well as removing the dead skin cells. So we've got a nice little paste there. You don't have to use oil. The one that I've used is coconut oil, which I love for the skin. You can also use any exfoliator that you have at home, so body scrub, face scrub, anything like that that is exfoliating, you can also use on the hands. You can use a body butter if you don't have an oil. As long as it's a paste and you've got a majority of the grains in there and enough to lubricate on the skin, that's what we're looking for. So if you can see that we've got a nice little paste there that we can use, and that is literally just sugar and oil. That's all it is. If you wanted to get creative, by all means add in some essential oil, just a drop or so of your favorite fragrance, to make it a little bit more of a holistic experience. Okay, so we've got our scrub ready, which we'll be using in a second. The next stage is your warm water, which I have just popped into a bowl. These are actually the ones that I use when I do my treatments for my clients. So, and all I have in here is a little bit of just a moisturising bubble bath, which I'm just going to place into the water and just agitate it to mix it so we get a few bubbles. You don't want it too strong, because obviously too much soap can strip the skin, and that's exactly what we're trying to remedy. So we don't want to add to the problem, we want to fix it. So I'm just going to move my little pots out of the way so I don't knock them over. Okay, so I've also popped a towel across my workspace to protect my clothes on the table from too much moisture. So once we're ready, just pop your hands inside. You can do one at a time, or you can do both of them. But what we want to do is soften the skin. So usually it's the knuckle area that gets affected, particularly between the fingers. So as long as we give those a good couple of minutes in the water.
Well, while you're just soaking your hands, so we've actually had a question from Laura Bridge. Hi Laura, thank you so much. And she says, my hands get so dry, I wear cotton gloves and E45 at night. Can you suggest a better moisturiser?
E45 is very good, but anything, you could try something more like an oil, which would be a little bit more intense. So coconut oil is very, very good for the skin, and it is absorbed very readily by the skin, because on a molecular level, it's very similar to the oil that we have naturally on the skin. But it's not always down to the product that we're using. It could be the buildup of the dry skin cells has got to a point where no matter what you put on it, it's not going to get absorbed because that layer is just too tough. So you need to exfoliate a couple of times a week, and then put your lotion and your cotton gloves on. So I would do lotion and cotton gloves every single night, and exfoliate 2 or 3 times a week in between.
Perfect. Thanks, Laura. If you've got any more questions, obviously just pop them back on. Another question often comes up, and is certainly, what is the best way of dealing with problem nails? You know, people can't get to salons at the moment. What on earth are they going to do if they've got problems, you know, with nails breaking, etc.?
With the nails, I mean, unfortunately at the moment, because I don't advocate the use of home kits for gel products and things, because there's so much problem out there with allergies and chemicals and things like that. So at the moment, unfortunately, the ideal way is just to keep your nails short. Regular cuticle oil application, hand lotion application, and just paying attention to shaping them gently with a nail file and not letting them get to the point where they are breaking. Because obviously when problem nails do split, they tend to split right down, and that can damage the hyponychium, which is the soft tissue underneath the nail, which is very sensitive, and then that can allow other issues, infections and stuff to occur. So with an emery board, not a metal file, a soft emery board, if you can source one from a professional person or a salon, they can recommend the best one for your nails. And if they want to contact me, obviously I'm happy to advise in that capacity. But just to file them, keep them short, and just give them some TLC up until the time we can get back to our salons and have those professional treatments done. But I would certainly avoid any kind of home kit of use of gels or acrylics or anything like that, because there's so much you can't teach, you know, in a leaflet that comes in the box. So I would just avoid those and just work on the time to give them the TLC.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. So I've just taken my hands out. I'm just going to dry them gently on my towel, just kind of pat them dry. They don't have to be, you know, really, really dry. Just a little bit damp is fine. Then I am going to take some of my sugar scrub and I'm going to pop it into my hand. And over the bowl, I am going to work that in. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure when you're working with your scrubs. Let the scrub do the work for you, because you don't want to damage any delicate skin that you might have. But you can work it around your wrists, you can work it up your lower arm, you can work it down your fingers, in between. Obviously this area here is very common that it does get build-up of dry skin. Work both hands. If you were to work on somebody else, you can do this procedure just splitting it down to do one hand at a time. So you do all of the steps on one hand to the point that you wrap them up with cling film, and then repeat on the other side. And that's basically what we do in the salon to make it a little bit more relaxing.
That's lovely.
So just give them a good, kind of follow the procedures that you will have all seen for washing your hands, you know, how thorough we've been with the different movements. You can just repeat those with the scrub. And then when you feel that kind of zinginess and you feel like you've had enough of that, we're just going to rinse it off using the same water that we've just had. Now, it doesn't have to be completely oil free, because we do want to leave some of that oil on the skin because it will continue to nourish. So just going to get all of the granules off is what I'm really looking for. And then I am going to dry my hands. So let me just move that one out of the way. And this smells absolutely divine in here with coconut oil and lavender.
Oh, I bet it does.
Smells are so important at the moment with the stress in the home. So I've always got a diffuser on. I've always got natural smells around me. I don't like air fresheners and things because I find they give me headaches, but certainly having, you know, a drop of lavender, even on a tissue, can help just to relieve any kind of stress at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to give those a good dry, and just pay attention in between your fingers, because you can get sneaky little grains that tend to stick in there. And when we do the massage, we don't want those scratching the skin while we're working. So, okay, so the next point that I'm going to do is the massage. So I'm just going to use exactly the same oil that I used when I did the scrub. So we're kind of layering up the levels of moisture. And I'm just going to pop a little bit into my hand, and then I'm going to warm it up and help to spread it across my other hand so that my hands are covered. And then you can work on one hand at a time, or you can do both at the same time. So first of all, just gentle stroking movements just to spread the oil over the area that you want to work on. And even as self-massage, this is it is relaxing, because you're focusing on yourself and on your own sense of stress as you're doing it. But when working on a family member, it really helps to reconnect, and it really helps to boost that kind of family connection, which may be a little bit frazzled at the moment because we're spending so much time together. So just up and down the front and back of the arms, one hand and then the other one. And then you can kind of get a little bit creative with this. There's no rules really, other than any heavy pressure, apply upwards, kind of working towards the heart and releasing as you're coming down. But any muscly bits you can work through with your fingertips, with your knuckles, and really get into those kind of meaty bits around the wrists. It's actually quite nice across all those wrist bones, just to do some thumb circling and working up. You can put your fingers on top and your thumb underneath and kind of circle like this. Just any kind of touch really is going to have an impact. And the most important thing is that we are getting that moisture into the skin where it's needed. The areas that we've scrubbed or not. I mean, obviously, if your skin is very dry to the point that it's cracked and it's sore and it's weeping, then you don't want to exfoliate those areas, but you can still nurture them with plenty of moisture to help them to heal. If you're unsure as to how damaged the skin actually is, I would speak to your pharmacist and get a recommendation as to what they would recommend to put on it, just to be safe, because anything cosmetic could cause further irritation or just be uncomfortable and sting, and we definitely don't want that to happen. So on the back of the hands, I'm just working up with my thumb on the channels where in between the bones. That feels quite nice. Just push and release, push and release, push and release up. And you can do the same thing on the fingers. And obviously you can repeat this on both hands. You can work them around the joint spaces, flex the fingers. You can even pull them down. Just have a play with it. Figure out what feels nice for yourself or for your, you know, your partner or your kids or whoever you're helping this treatment to do. And then repeat on the other side.
Looks so relaxing, Lisa.
It feels really good, actually. I'm surprised, even doing it on yourself, because you kind of go, oh, you know, that actually aches a little bit in there. You might have been doing extra gardening, you might have been doing extra cleaning, all those things, you know, they take a toll, and we need to give back to ourselves as much as we need to give back to other people. So just taking time out, even if you allow yourself half an hour to really pamper yourself. An ideal time to do this actually is if you are lucky enough to have access to a bathtub and you've given yourself a good old soak. Then to do the treatment, you can skip out the soaking section and go straight in with a scrub and the mask afterwards. And you can do it on your hands, your legs, your knees, your elbows, anywhere that you've got dry skin. And you can work through this exact same routine and you will find that it will help. Okay, so I am gonna, you basically get the idea from what I've done. So I'm just gonna rub a little bit more of that oil in. If your skin is really, really dry, what you could apply now is, on top of the oil, is to add a thick moisture cream. So not a lotion, not a watery lotion, but a thicker cream. So like a body butter or a cocoa butter, or an intensive mask. If you've got a moisture mask that you would put on your face, you can put that on your hands. You know, these products tend to be multifaceted. They're not just single purpose products. So give it a try and wrap those on. And when you've got a nice layer over all of your worked area, you take your cling film and wrap it around. And what the cling film does is it helps to trap in the heat that we generate anyway and keep the pores of the skin open. Just going to wrap that around there, and then take a dry towel and you can wrap it around, and that obviously helps to keep that heat in. It's a little bit more comfortable. You can do one hand at a time. So at this point, I would, if I've put my body butter on and I've wrapped it in my cling film, wrap it in a towel, give it a good 10 or 15 minutes, take it off that side and repeat over the oil that you've already got sitting on the other hand, and just sit for another 15 minutes. And that will really give you an amazing amount of moisture into the skin, because we've removed that tough, dry layer that stops the skin from absorbing any more moisture. And that's really the problem. That's when your creams aren't working, is you know that you need to give them a little bit of a scrub, which kind of, in a way, does feel a bit counterintuitive. Why would you scrub, you know, skin which is potentially a little bit sore from over washing? But you need to get rid of that tough outer layer to allow the skin to absorb that moisture.
How's your hand feeling now, Lisa? It's like having a lovely hug, isn't it? It's lovely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the warmth that I've got underneath this towel, it feels snuggly. You know, it's like if you grab a towel straight out of the tumble dryer and you wrap yourself in it, you get that kind of cocoon feeling, which is really nice. You know, it nurtures, it kind of brings out that sleepy child within all of us. And you know, if you were to do this and you're wrapped up and you feel like you want to take a little nap, then by all means sit back, take a nap, because your body needs it. That's your body telling you you need to just stop.
It is. I mean, just that feeling of being hugged, of being snuggled, is what makes the difference with everything, isn't it? It is
Absolutely.
It's the power of touch, and whether we're just doing it for ourselves, which is also, how often do we take the time to do something so loving for ourselves?
Absolutely. Self-care. I mean, I wrote an article a little while ago. It's the one area, especially from the beauty perspective, people in my industry that work as therapists or massage therapists or whatever, you know, they work in the wellness industry, they don't take time to nurture themselves. And if we're not doing it when we should be doing it because we know better, then your average person isn't going to be taking the time to do it. We're up against the clock all the time. You know, we've got to get the kids here, there and everywhere. We've got to get to work. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. Our schedules are always so busy. We never schedule in any time to just take half an hour for ourselves. And whether, you know, that's a cheeky little nana nap or whether it's doing a home treatment on ourselves, it's very important that we nurture ourselves, because if we don't nurture ourselves, we have less and less to give other people.
Indeed, and that is the female thing all over, isn't it, Lisa?
Absolutely. We spend so much time giving to other people, we forget about ourselves. But it's, you know, sometimes you have to be selfish, although it's not being selfish, but we are made to feel that if we do take time for ourselves, it's selfish. But of course it's not. It's important that we look after number one in order to take care of numbers 2 to 100.
I mean, from you know, really coming from a very practical perspective, when we do this, we're actually getting rid of stress hormones that we're carrying in our skin. We get rid of those stress hormones, actually our immune system improves. We are more likely to stay healthy because we've given ourselves just this 30 minutes of self-care.
Absolutely. And anything that can reduce stress at the moment is at any time is important, but at the moment especially. I think a lot more people will see the benefit far beyond just the vanity aspect of getting rid of the dry skin. Hopefully you will anyway. So I've just removed my plastic cling film. If you don't have cling film, you can use plastic file pockets, anything that is plastic basically, because that will have the same effect. We do use cling film in the salon. You can get even a food bag, a Ziploc bag, anything like that is plastic that you can use as a mitten will work equally as well. So it's just being a little bit creative with what you have around. Now I've just removed the excess oil that I had on my skin. I know some of my clients hate a greasy residue. So at this point, it would be fine just to gently wash any excess oil off. But if you've left them sufficient time, you shouldn't have a massive amount of residual oil left anyway, because the idea is that the skin has soaked all of that in. And you should just be left with a nice, soft, feel to your skin. But like I said, it's fine just to gently wash them if you do want to get rid of that. The other thing that you can do with a little bit of the oil that you have left over is pay particular attention to the cuticles. The skin around the nails gets very dry and can crack and can split, and a lot of people it gets overgrown. So the best way to treat that is with cuticle oil, but again you can use any oil, any natural oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. The kind of thicker ones are the better ones to use because they're much more nourishing, a little bit more waxy, and it also provides a little bit more protection to the skin, especially when they're really dry. So with massaging around the cuticles, this area here, we have our little nail factory called the matrix, which is where the nail is made, and it comes through and forms the keratin layer, the nail plate that is our nails. And if we massage that area, we are speeding up the production of our nails. So it helps healthy nail growth to massage this area of each of the fingers. So you can spend a couple of minutes on each one, kind of going over, because massage increases circulation and nutrients to that area. Therefore, it's going to boost production. The same with working on the scalp. If you wanted to do a scalp massage with some oils, that will help healthy hair growth as well. So just work around, and you can leave the oil on the cuticle areas for a little bit longer, and that will just finish that treatment off nicely. But again, if you don't like that greasy residue, you can take it off. I wouldn't wash it off again because then we're adding to the problem, but just with a towel, just gently remove any residue that you have. Now, somebody did ask me at what stage could they then, you know, polish their own nails. Once you've done this treatment, of course you can polish your nails, but we have used a large amount of oil, and in order for the nail polish to stay on the nails, we need to remove the oil that we have on the nail plate. So I would wash gently around here and then just go over the surface of the nail with some nail polish remover to get a squeaky clean, and then carry on with your base coat, your colour, and then your top coat. And then you should have some nice nails finished.
Wow, that's absolutely brilliant, Lisa. Thank you so much. I think people are going to have a wonderful time this week playing around with that.
I hope so, and it would be good to see some results. You know, if people have got any photographs that they can share of the difference that it's made, and you know, even the stories that it's boosted their self
as a feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. So
please send us feedback. You can go to we're on Facebook, Think Tree Hub, or you can find Lisa at MK Higher Academy. So yeah, give us some feedback, share your pictures. That would be absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to say, Lisa, thank you so much for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
You can find Lisa, as I said, at MK Higher Academy. You can find us at www.thinktreehub.com, and we'll see you next week. Next week, actually, we're going to have a fantastic guy called Ravi Nahar, and he's going to teach us some authentic Kriya Yoga for mental well-being, which we know people are, again, really struggling with at the minute. So again, thanks for everyone for turning up. Thanks to Lisa for sharing everything so well. The replay will be on YouTube, so you can just go through it anytime, share it with your friends. Let's really get Handcare, the nation's hands, beautifully moisturised. Bye everyone.